How many of you here have ever seen or been to a Cirque du Soliel show? Okay, now, for those of you who have, what's the first word that comes to mind when you think of Cirque du Soliel and what it brings you? Creativity, pardon me? Magic, or magistry. Anybody else? Wow. You know, a lot of these same words, whether I was in another country, another environment, different type of people, a lot of these same words always come up. Where we've noticed that over the years, we've become a cross-cultural brand. That the meanings that we can bring in North America are the same meanings we see in Europe and other parts of the world as well. So that was one of the big findings for us. I'm getting ahead of myself, so what I'll do is I'll start at the beginning. It started in 1984. We were a small company, about 73 employees. We started in Quebec. One of the dreams of the founders was just to travel the world. So this was one of the ways that they could do it, by reinventing, rethinking the cirque. But they didn't start out with that idea of reinventing the circus. They wanted to travel the world. So 30 years later, we're ahead of that. We're far from that. We create immersive environments, immersive worlds that transport you. And you know, we believe that through our creativity, anything is possible. And so in 2016, when we consider that over the past 30 plus years, we're now at 4,000 employees. We've sold over 160 million tickets, and we've got 20 different shows that are either in Las Vegas or travel the world. These are some of the shows you may have seen. What we have is we're a very data-driven company. You know, we have a lot of information about what tickets, where and when we sell tickets, who we sell tickets to, and we have a lot of strong key brand metrics. And these key brand metrics are similar to other brands or even better than other brands that we've measured ourselves. But the thing that we were asking ourselves is what is driving this high NPS? What is driving this high brand love? Because I think to paraphrase Uncle Ben from Spider-Man, you know, with great brand love comes great responsibility. So we have to understand that if we're going to try to evolve the brand or move somewhere else and go into different products and diversify, we have to understand what core values are driving that NPS. You know, we have an idea of that, but for us, it was really important that we go and speak with consumers to really understand what was behind that. So what we have here is a brand essence project. You know, it started internally. We all got together. We had sort of internal brainstorms, internal focus groups to really have our own opinion of what was driving that. And you can understand that at Silk, we have a lot of creative minds there. You know, we develop our own costumes, we develop our own show sets. We have a lot of creative minds that come in and can have that idea of what our brand is. So fundamentally, we wanted to understand, you know, what ideas are imprinted on the minds of our consumers when they leave the show. One of the differences that we noticed that people would talk about other live entertainment acts as, I go in, I sit down, once the curtain opens, the show starts. Whereas Cirque, it's once I'm on the side of the show, once I enter the big top, once I enter the theater, that's where the show starts for me. So there's that big difference, and for us, you know, as a live entertainment brand, comparing ourselves to the other ones and noting that that immersive experience is important for us. So, as I mentioned before, we also have to understand why they love us so much. You know, if it's one aspect, then we have to make sure that whatever we do, that aspect carries with us. If it's a bunch of them, then we have to understand how do we, you know, as if we're playing with an equalizer, how do we match them going forward, or do we always have to go forward with the same bunch? And then, to my earlier point, you know, what of these brand pillars, this brand essence, can be brought forward to other projects, and how can that guide us towards other projects, whether in live entertainment or otherwise? So what we did here is we wanted to, tap into accumulated wisdom, talk to everyone in the organization, but more importantly, talk to our consumers. So we had focus groups across the world. Notably, we talked to people in Barcelona, London, Los Angeles, and I'll show you a video soon. So we also wanted to get the environment we spoke to them in had to sort of feel more like Cirque than traditional focus group rooms. We had to have, sort of props that people could touch and feel and get emotional with. So we had to sort of try and not necessarily replicate the Cirque environment, but sort of have some sort of priming, some ideas around it. And afterwards, we tested these pillars that we found here through consumer research as well and surveys and whatnot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play you a short 5-minute video. To give you an idea, we created a bunch of these videos. We had events in Las Vegas where we invited all our artists and performers, and we showed them the videos. They showed them what consumers thought of them to really give them that feedback. Because for them, when they're up on stage and the lights are shining in their eyes, they don't see the faces that are in front of them. So this gives them the opportunity to see those faces and see how they touch the lives of the people. Not in this video, but we understood, there are some people who sort of leave our show changed. One person in San Francisco was talking about how she'd leave Cirque and feel sort of empty afterwards. So she would drive back and forth on the Golden Gate Bridge just thinking about what she experienced there. So those are type of things that, we know as I mentioned, we know the brand love is high, but we don't understand what that implication is and what that means to the consumer. So I'm going to play this video, and then I'll come back with the different pillars.
Time you step into the tent, you know that you're going to be in a different world. It's kind of like when you're a kid and you look into, like a snow globe or something, and you see this other world, and you're thinking, wow, there's incredible things could happen in there. And sure enough, they do.
Once you step into the tent, and there's just a certain atmosphere that draws you in, that moment where you just feel like you're in another universe.
It's almost like subtracting yourself from the equation of society and submerging into this world that is created for you, for which you are not responsible for,
I love it when that fourth plane, as my friend the clown calls it, dissolves, and the show gets into the audience. You feel like it's right there, like you're closer to the performance.
Estás hablando del tema de la experiencia inmersiva, ¿no? Estás dentro del espectáculo.
Sí, además cuando haces teatro de calle.
Y cuando se acaba el espectáculo, te das cuenta que era mentira, era un sueño.
En la carpa casi que cumple más el tema que estás metido ahí.
What attracts me to Cirque du Soliel is to see a show that is such a high quality performance.
There is nothing down circus above Cirque du Soleil. This is the top of the top.
It's so precisely choreographed, so precisely, every detail is thought out. The set, the costuming, the music, everything is so precisely done.
Everybody is flawless, and the acrobatics there's nothing like that. It's perfection.
All the time, we're classified as being, racially, socially, socioeconomic backgrounds. And that's another thing I like about Cirque. It feels like we're all just one.
Son honestos, son sinceros, te dan lo que ellos tienen.
Y realmente se ve como ellos entre ellos tratan de sostener el espectáculo, ¿sabes? Eso también.
I remember my first show, I was literally at the edge of my seat the entire time because the senses, the sights, the sound, everything is so phenomenal.
At a certain point in the show, many things were happening at once, and they all made sense.
I was really impressed with everything. The idea, the lighting, the acts, it was beautiful.
There's got to be a wow factor somewhere, that you go, whoa, I've never seen that before, which is what you get when you come to a Cirque show.
It's a little bit of out-of-the-box thinking, which I think is all about what Cirque du Soleil is.
I think it's partly about the edginess, the sort of challenging the audience and surprising. more than circus skills had done in the past.
That's what's so amazing, because it's very difficult to generate a lasting feeling, more so than to generate a lasting impression that there was something really cool.
You always do feel like you're a child looking at something that you might have imagined in your early childhood.
That whole sensory experience where just everything contributed to the whole experience and completely detached me from my normal reality in a 100% way that very few other things can do. It's like an amazing dream that you keep thinking about.
It is. It's kind of like you've gone into someone else's dream for a little while and you're watching someone's crazy, fantastic dream. And that's why you get so caught up in it, because it's all fine in Cirque du Soleil.
I leave the show every time completely moved, and I'm thinking there are all these people that do such unbelievable stuff for me.
Siempre muy profunda y siempre con mucha energía y muy fuerte.
I just go for pure joy, and every single time I know that I'm going to leave just feeling kind of rejuvenated in a way.
I took my girlfriend, and she'd never seen a Cirque show, and she literally spent the first 30 minutes crying. It was so beautiful.
Keep the original experience pure. Don't lose sight of the fact that people come for a feeling and for an emotion to be generated, and that gets diluted too quickly and can be lost too easily.
Your original idea brought you here, and your success has brought you here, and you need to now push your own imagination and your own boundaries here to take it into that next realm.
So those are our 8 pillars. So the idea of it being dreamlike, that you go in there and it's like sort of a waking dream, that it delivers the unexpected, that you go in there, again, you have expectations, but it's going to deliver something completely different than what you thought. The emotional connection, it transports you out of the world, out of this world. If there was one that stood above all else, it's the transports you out of this world. There's such an importance of that in everything we do, and everything we do in terms of live entertainment, that is the one that we have to sort of always keep in mind. Whereas the other ones have to be present as well, but in different ways as well. So these are what we use to go forward with our brand. We've shared these across the organization, and this is all based on these discussions that we had, and we've also verified them through quant research as well. So, as I was mentioning before, originally when we went into this project, we thought, okay, there are different ideas. We can bring one up. If we want to bring human performance, we'll have a super acrobatic show, but maybe we'll reduce the immersive environment, but it would still be Cirque. But what this taught us in talking to the consumers is that we basically have to have everything present. We can't sort of let one fall and bring up the others. And again, this is something that was important in hearing it through the voices of the consumers and letting them tell us that we could understand that. So this is more how we have to sort of see our pillars rather than an equalizer. That if we remove one, well, the arch will fall apart. And that everything going forward, we have to make sure that there is some trace, some aspect of those pillars that will be present there. So it isn't the fact that we're circus, the fact that we're live entertainment, the fact that we have human performers that defines us. It's not just that equals human performance. There are other aspects in learning and in learning and speaking with consumers that we understand that it's not just the acrobatics, people in the air, that equals human performance. It's actually the how we deliver it as well. There are talented circus troupes all over the world, but no one can quite deliver it the same way that we're able to, and that's where we have to sort of focus on that. So the idea of transporting in an unexpected, immersive environment, striving for perfection. All these ideas that can inspire our consumers and bring them somewhere else in their lives as well. So we always have to keep that in mind. So getting back to the beginning where originally, we can always say, oh, well, Cirque was started with the idea of reinventing the circus. But it's not. They did something they loved and they cared about, and what they wanted to do was just travel the world. And so it's just little by little they reinvented the circus. And it was up for us recently to sort of go through the eyes of the consumers and see what that meant to them. We understood what it meant to us, but again, we had to go through them and understood what it meant to the consumer.